Joining us, let's bring you the very latest on the situation in Ukraine. Diplomatically, at the highest level, perhaps, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin speaking a phone call linking Washington to Moscow. So the conversation went a little like this. Putin telling Trump that Russia will respond to what has been described as Russia's Pearl Harbor moment. That's the drone attacks mounted by Ukraine on Russia's strategic aircraft bomber fleet, taking out almost all of them, and of great embarrassment to Putin and Russia. Putin telling Trump then that Russia will respond to those attacks and to expect no immediate peace. Well, let's get analysis from the Washington side of this story. Fraser Jackson is stateside for us. He joins us now live. Fraser, good evening to you. So, in terms of what's been said, no real surprises on Ukraine.
No, not really, but I think it's worth going over the tone of this message, really, because it does signal a slight shift, albeit a subtle one, from Donald Trump. In that Truth Social post, he says, "I just finished speaking by telephone with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. The call lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes, so slightly shorter than the last time they spoke." He says, "We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace." President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to the recent attacks on the airfields. Now, note there that there is no mention of Donald Trump trying to talk him out of retaliating and responding to this attack by the Ukrainians just a few days ago. That is a marked departure from where he was posting on Truth Social just around a week ago, when he said, stop Vladimir, and said that Vladimir Putin had gone absolutely insane for launching waves of attacks at the Ukrainians. There's maybe a telling part of this of the tweet. When you read the next part of it, he says, "We also discussed Iran and the fact that time is running out on Iran's decision pertaining to nuclear weapons, which must be made quickly." Now, he says, "I stated to President Putin that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, and on this, I believe we are in agreement." President Putin suggested he will participate in the discussions with Iran and that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to a rapid conclusion. Now, we're trying to get clarity, therefore, from the White House on whether Trump has changed his stance on this. And effectively now, there is worry that he may still allow Vladimir Putin to continue his war in Ukraine and continue those strikes on Ukraine in return for help on bringing about an Iran nuclear deal, which, of course, he's been trying to get over the line for the last couple of months or so. Another telling note, the one thing that really people have been waiting for is sanctions coming into effect on Russia from the US. And we are now hearing from the Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman, Roger Wicker, who is a Republican senator. He said that Donald Trump has now asked the Senate to officially hold off on considering a sanctions bill, which is currently making its way through the legislature. So Donald Trump, therefore, seemingly sophening his stance towards Vladimir Putin from even just a week or so ago.
Is there really a sense there, Fraser, among the people around you and among the people in the Republican Party that Iran will actually play ball in any way, shape or form, given that Iran is obviously the major supplier of drones to Vladimir Putin for his war effort in Ukraine?
Well, when you talk to people at the White House, they really say that the Iranians know that the president isn't bluffing and that Donald Trump is a winner and that he always wins. And I think they're kind of relying on his unpredictability to try to bring this kind of deal to the fore, really. Because even among the White House staff, there is a sense that they don't really know what Donald Trump is going to say or do at any given moment. And they're basically just kind of constantly reacting to what the president has done and trying to make that fit his America First message. So they're relying on that unpredictability somewhat, but they do believe that Donald Trump has the ball in his court, really, because he can threaten Iran with military action, and they don't know whether he really will go ahead with it. But of course, that kind of peace through strength approach now is what the White House has been pushing forwards and what they'll continue to try to push forward to get this deal across the line. The enrichment level really is what we're looking at here. They're trying to keep it down to a low level so they can have some kind of civilian nuclear program. But Donald Trump really has kind of been a bit ambiguous as to whether he wants zero enrichment or will allow that low-level enrichment. There's been some kind of conflicting reports, but the White House just adamant more than anything that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Indeed. Clarity on that, perhaps, but behind it, as you say, strategic ambiguity from Donald Trump. The advisors there not knowing what he'll do next. Fraser, thank you, as always, for bringing the clarity to the situation for us that we badly need on the word coming out of Washington. Fraser Jackson, our correspondent there.